Hey, welcome back to the channel. So I'm out at the airport and I'm getting ready to go fly. And so on last Saturday, I'll show you. Parker and I, we got the Gennipod installed, and I'll give you a kind of close up of the installation here. So it's really quite simple. I just made this aluminum bracket. Probably could have made it out of 3/16, but I made it out of quarter and lightened it up as much as I could, and it's nice and steady here. And then what we have is this is just the wires just come out of the back of it here, and they just go up into the fuselage through a grommet like that. And that part of it is just super simple. And then when you get into the cockpit, see if I can show you from the other side here. So I just had to add another switch to the panel here, and that's this one right here, right there, next to the master. That's the generator one. I've got some letters to put on there, but I've redone all of these placards anyway because my ink, for some reason, even though it's supposed to be light fast, is not. You can see how it's kind of turned purple, the black has. So I got some clear vinyl that's got good UV protection to go over that, and give me a little more life out of those placards. So what we have down here is what you see right there. That's just a little small interface that's used for a life battery. If you're using solar and you're going to charge a LiFePO4 battery, it has a setting on there for that. So when I start up and turn it on, I just need to make sure that light on the top that are closest to me is registering for LiFePO4. So if I turn the master on here and then I turn that on, there's a I don't know if you can see that, but that's the one. That third one is actually the one that's lit up. So that's really the only check I have to make, is just make sure that's set for LiFePO4, and then we're all good. So at the Gennipod says that at 60 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour, I guess, it will run everything that I have. It will run the radio, it'll run the secondary ignition, it'll run my fuel pump. So what I'll be looking for today when I'm flying is basically for my volts. If I'm reading, once I have everything running anyway, I'll be reading something different, but right now I'm reading 13.2. I think when I'm running it's about 12.6 probably. And so I'll be watching the voltage to see once I flip on the generator switch. And of course, we've already tested it on the ground just to make sure that nothing is shorting out. We've got the wiring correct and all that kind of stuff. So, and that's certainly the case. Everything's in really good shape. Yeah, so the installation was simple. It just comes up from the floor right there, goes underneath the floorboard, and you can see I have a new piece of material to add additional support. It's just a piece of 3/8 plywood down underneath the floorboard there that the Gennipod is bolted to, and I wanted to be as close to this cross member as possible, so that worked out just fine. If it would have turned out that it needed to be, if it wasn't as rigid as it is and it needed more support, then I would put another cross member in front of that board, just forward of the gasculator, to provide some additional support in that area, but it doesn't look like I'm going to need it. So so that wire just comes up, goes into this converter, and then there it wires up into the panel, into the bus that's inside the panel, of course through the switch and the breaker. So we'll be checking that out today. And also the guys at High Desert Avionics they're letting me borrow a two-place portable intercom. So hopefully, and I also have the Tiny Tech like device that I bought to verify my RPMs. And if you've been on the boards, you've seen that on takeoff and starting my climb, I'm actually getting 3,050 RPMs, which means that my RPM chase with my MGL, even after putting the Hall sensor in, is just still incorrect. So we tested the new gauge against static RPMs, so now I'm confident that getting 3,000, just over, it's about 3050, and it looks like it recorded what my highest RPM reach was. It was like 3,090, so almost 3,100 in flight. And so I was able to finally be able to have a good conversation with the prop manufacturer, Performance Propeller, and Dominic there has been so helpful in helping me chase this down and work through the numbers with me. And so whenever I get a 2-week window where we have good weather for not flying, I was going to say that wrong. When the weather's not flyable for a couple of weeks, I'm going to pull the prop. I'm going to send it back to Dominic. They're going to make some adjustments and see if we can't get a couple more 100 RPM so that climb is spinning somewhere around 3,300 as opposed to the 33,050 that I'm seeing right now. So, and I know the engine is still a bit tight. I'm just over 7 hours now, so I'm not even to that 10-hour mark that Scott says is where it really is, before it really starts to loosen up. So, and I can tell when I'm pulling it through, it's just not there yet. But so we're going to make that prop adjustment. But anyway, I'm going to get my pre-flight done, and we'll get set up, and we're going to head out. So my good friends at High Desert Avionics, which is the last hangar you'll see here on the left, let me use this two-place, and it actually worked out perfect, except I messed up the recording. I had a recording, but then when I stuck it in my pocket, I accidentally turned the recording off. So you get a little voiceover here in the beginning, and then we'll just let you enjoy the flight, and then I'll catch back up with you at the end. So the cool thing about this flight is I was actually in the pattern with a tanker it's a fire tanker, and I was in a right-hand orbit over the airport, kind of flying a right-hand traffic pattern, and he was actually in a left-hand, much bigger traffic pattern, but he was making low-level approaches, and you'll see him coming right here. So enjoy the flight.
Hey, so thank you for all your support. I do appreciate it, and I always enjoy all the comments and the friendships that I've made through this channel. And hey, let's, we're going to keep it going. So I'm going to share, just continue to share. The great news for today is that the Gennipod did exactly what I wanted it to. And when I took off and had everything running, I was at 12.5 volts on the battery, and when I landed and pulled up to the fuel island, I was at 12.8 volts on the battery with everything running. So that's really great news. That means that the setup that I have is doing exactly what I wanted it to, and that was after flying like a 1.1, so just over an hour, which is typically should be about 50% depletion of my battery. I didn't have any. Actually, I gained a little bit, so that's great news. I mean, the flight was good. Everything I wanted to do, I got accomplished. I made a few runs at checking out the VSI, and so I've got some data there to go figure out if that's off at all. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and for enduring all of my videos and getting to this place where we are. I'm pretty excited about how everything's going. I mean, the engine is just running just perfectly, and it's good to know with those RPMs that I've got something that I can trust now, and we'll be able to get a little more speed out of it and a little better climb by making some adjustments to the prop. Basically, Dominic said he might reduce the diameter down a little bit. It's a 56 right now, so he might go down to 55 or 54, and he might flatten the prop out a little bit. But at any rate, he's going to take care of that for me, and we'll get that. I'm anxious to see what that does. So I'm getting really close to. I'm just over 8 hours now flying around the airport. Probably do maybe two more pattern flights, and then I'll be, at least for my standard, I'll feel like I'm ready to go out to the practice area and go on to the next test card, which is actually doing stalls and stuff. So climbing, getting a little more altitude, and figuring out where this thing starts to buffet and where it stalls, because I don't know that yet. So I'm still flying with high margins, and so that means I'm approaching at either 55 or 60, and I'm climbing at around 50. It's like right in that neighborhood, 48, 50, instead of the 41 area. That is the best climb for this plane. So yeah, so thanks for hanging out with me, and hey, I will catch you later.